Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. So, first things first in the D&D news sphere. Sure, we'll go with that today. Strixhaven obviously just came out. That's kind of the big news right now. In related news to that, actually, Wizards of the Coast has issued a formal apology in both public and private to their cultural and sensitivity consultant, Tanya DePass, because she was incorrectly, or not at all, credited in the initial printing of Strixhaven, but she will be credited in the future printings of the book. And so starting with the second run of them, she will be properly credited in there. It seems like it is all good, but obviously not the best thing to forget to credit any of your people, but particularly your cultural and sensitivity consultant. But that is really the big news today. And honestly, it's not the biggest news in terms of like gameplay and all that. So I'm glad that they obviously corrected their mistake, but it does not affect the contents of the book in this particular case. So if you got a release printing, you are missing a credit line in there, but you will not be they will not be changing any of the like actual content deeper within the book. Moving on from news, because that's really about it, we have streams for today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/DND. We have the Black Dice Society, followed by, at 10 o'clock, obviously, Critical Role, live on YouTube and on twitch.tv/Critical Role. I don't know why I paused on that one. That is all the streams that I have. Again, if you know of any streams that I need to be talking about, looking at, let me know so that I can incorporate them and make sure they get put into the rotation, because I really, really like expanding my horizons on this, and I want to be able to include smaller streams as well. I will be sure to be announcing the ones that I am involved in as they come out. Today for T&D, today we have our peach lemon herbal tea. It is delicious, and I don't know, it's really light and fresh, and that's what I was feeling this morning, which is kind of funny because as the mug says, it is a cup full of cozy, not a light and fresh kind of day. It's a little bit of both. This mug will obviously be making a reappearance closer to the actual Christmas time, but based on the subject that we were talking about today, I thought it was appropriate. So there you go. That is T&D, and moving on right into what we're actually talking about today. All right. So what we're talking about today, a little different than what I normally talk about. We're talking about holiday gift guide. I don't know if you really want to call it that. Most of the people who are going to be watching this are not people who are like, overly concerned with making sure they know what D&D things to get. But if you happen to be somebody who is buying D&D products for someone else, then this will hopefully be of great use to you. Obviously, you're going to want to check with whoever you're buying for going into this, because you don't want to accidentally get them something they already have, though generally people are very much understanding, very much appreciative of it, no matter what, because a lot of times it is really just the thought that counts. And honestly, if you're getting them one of these first things, a new copy of it is always good, because we're leading off with our physical books and stuff like that. I have here with me my newest copy of the Player's Handbook. I've gone through 3 copies of the Player's Handbook, and this is the newest copy that I have. It is the one where the binding is not destroyed on it, which is a nice kind of thing. I am a big fan of that in particular, but I also have obviously a deep soft spot for my copies of the book that have been absolutely decimated. This is good for people who are just getting into D&D. I didn't grab it from the other room because I'm a ding-dong, but you should also see if they have the starter set. If they're like really just getting into it, they're kind of interested in it, you can pick up the starter set for really pretty cheap at your local game store, Target, Walmart, all those kind of different things. But a Player's Handbook obviously goes a long way. If they are a Dungeon Master, the Dungeon Master's Guide and or the Monster Manual, if they don't have them already, also very good options. I didn't grab those either, because these next few books here, or a couple books, go along with the DM stuff and the player stuff, actually. The 2 Everything Guides. The Everything Guides are as they say in the title, they are everything. They cover DM tools, they cover player tools. They are phenomenal resources to have, and I highly recommend getting them. If you know somebody who does not already have them, definitely. These are vital books to have at a certain point. If nothing else, just to like be able to look through it, you know. They have phenomenal class options, race options, DM tools, all of that sort of thing. And actually, Tasha's has the more updated general rule set that they're going to be moving towards in the future. So having this will also help you sort of upgrade in your own head your current collection. So I definitely recommend picking up those for whoever you're buying for, if they don't already have them. I'm throwing this one in there because this is arguably my favorite book that we have had. You guys have heard me talk about this on this channel. I love Fizzbands. It is the book that I wanted, that I didn't know that I needed. But as soon as they announced it, I was in love with it, and I had to have it. Fizzbands deepens the dragons of Dungeons and Dragons to an extent that I didn't know we needed. I didn't know that I needed. I didn't know that I wanted. But as soon as I got it, I was absolutely in love with it. So definitely check that out. Those are my biggest recommendations for official books. I'll spread them out here for you. Just peek over the top. There we go. Definitely check these guys out. They're all phenomenal titles, and I think that everybody should have these in their collection. If you don't, or if the person you're buying for does not, those are safe bets that I really think they would enjoy. Moving on from official books, I grabbed a few of my favorite third-party books as well. Kobold Press, this little guy, there we go. This little guy down here, phenomenal publisher of third-party books. Tome of Beast 2, Creature Codex, Vault of Magic, all kinds of different stuff. All very excellent titles for people to be able to explore as they want to expand their options. I didn't start buying third-party supplements for a very long time, and as soon as I did, I fell in love with them. So if you have somebody who hasn't really explored them, check them out. They're really well balanced. They're really well done. I like them a lot. In addition to that, a slightly less known widely, but still I think phenomenal, especially if you're into horror, Grim Hollow. Grim Hollow, so good. Based in Canada, so shipping might be a little funkety, but they are so good. If you love horror, if you want to run that sort of like gritty darkness, this is it. This is it right here. This is everything you need, I promise. I've done full videos on this book. I'm going to do one on the player guide at some point here. Beautiful books, and I'm so excited for when the monster book actually comes out from them. I have the alpha PDF, and I cannot wait to get the physical copy in my hands. And finally, honorable mention, one of the first third-party books I ever bought, one of my favorite books I have ever bought, The Griffin Saddlebag. This is beautiful. I've done a video on this. It was actually the first third-party Thursday I ever did. I'm treating this kind of as a third-party Thursday, even though a lot of the stuff I'm going to be plugging is official Wizards stuff, but that's not really the point. This book is full of magic items. A lot of them are available on Instagram, or all of them are available via their Patreon, but this physical book with the gold leafing and everything like that is beautiful. It's phenomenal. I adore it. I highly recommend getting this thing, in addition to any of these other guys that I have held up so far. I can't really spread these as well because the Tome of Beast is huge. There we go. So that is what I have in terms of physical books. Moving on from books necessarily, more books, but this time in the digital format. If the person you are buying for plays D&D online in particular, if they play it at all, but especially if they play it online, I cannot recommend enough looking into either virtual tabletop or online book service that has these books. In particular, D&D Beyond for your online book service. It is an all-inclusive tool that just is a phenomenal resource. It turns it into this massive sort of database that you can search sort of at your leisure once you have the content unlocked for it. There is the upfront cost of actually having to buy each of the individual books on there, but they are not cover price books. They are definitely discounted because they are only ebooks, and then they put them into this massive format for you, which is just amazing to be able to use. I love it. I don't know that I go a day without accessing it when I am not working like crazy constantly. I don't. Looking back on it, planning D&D stuff before I had all of my D&D Beyond set up, it was way harder. It is so much less time consuming for me to plan games now than it was before I had all of that stuff. In addition to that, there are so many of these official books, and actually a lot of these third-party books that are available on virtual tabletops. Things like Roll20 and Foundry, among others. Check to see with people either in their group, close to them themselves, what books they have on these different things, because you can load character sheets straight into these different tabletop formats, and they are phenomenal resources, especially if people are playing online, which a lot of times right now with COVID, we still are. Or if people have moved or something like that. My home game is still operational, even though most of the party lives states away. Well, all of the party lives states away from me. Most of them live in one direction. The other one person lives in the opposite direction. But we've been able to keep her involved for as long as we have, because we've been able to play online with her. And now that when COVID hit, everybody went online, and we got really used to this sort of different format. And now with me having moved, we are really sort of comfortable with it, which is really nice and kind of a change of pace from some of the discomfort that came with the initial growing pains of it. And so I am really thankful that we managed to actually do that. So I highly recommend checking with someone in their group, checking with them, their partner, anybody that's close to them, to figure out what books they have on there. You can get, again, I think it's all of the official stuff and a lot of third-party stuff, because a lot of like Kickstarters will offer VTT stuff like that. And a lot of them have names that don't really make a lot of sense, but that's okay. It's a fantasy gaming thing. Just roll with it as long as it is there. Next up, we are actually moving away from books now. I am someone that really loves... Oh, geez, where'd I put the box? Oh, no, where'd I put the box? I don't know where I put this box. Dang it. That's okay. That's all right. I really love having stuff set up on the table in front of me. As I mentioned, my home game largely is online right now, and so I don't really get a whole lot of chance to use minis and terrain and stuff like that. But a small set from Dwarven Forge, unpainted or painted, is an amazing investment for somebody who is looking to really step up their in-person, on-the-table game. Dwarven Forge, Warlocked, there are several... I think it's just Warlock, actually. There are several other different brands that are out there for this. Check to see if they already have some, because not all of them are necessarily compatible with each other, but they're all really phenomenal. I have a box somewhere around here. I thought I put it right next to me. I guess I didn't. It's got Dwarven Forge stuff in it, and now I'm sad because I can't find it. It's not a big box, but my fiance got it for me last year, and I adore it. I like to just put it together and play with it sometimes because it's just fun. But dang, okay, not the point. Moving on. Next up, staying in the same realm of physical game pieces to get somebody, we have minis. I love minis. Minis are one of my favorite things. This mammoth sits on my desk because it's fun and I like to look at it. I also have a Warforged Titan right here. In addition to, I can't remember what this one is called, but it's a... Oh, let's not pull on all the cords because you're all wrapped up. It is a Emissary of Perforos. I can't pronounce that without trying. It's a scary bull spirit thing. I have goblins. I've got undead. I've got all kinds of stuff within arm's reach. I love minis. These three guys actually came from, not this exact box, but boxes like this. These are random mini boxes. I think this is the one that I got the Warforged Titan, and you can see him right there. There we go. On the box. These are awesome because even if you get duplicates, the odds that you get a lot of duplicates really pretty low because there's a pretty wide set number in there. And you can buy them in like individual boxes for 15 to 20 bucks, or you can buy like a big brick of 8 of them for 90 to 120, depending on which edition set you get. And there are a lot of different like set editions. And so if you have the opportunity, you can actually ask like where they are in their campaign, and maybe get them something that could be useful. Like if they're up in the Arctic, maybe a mammoth is going to be great. If they're somewhere where there's a lot of constructs right now, maybe a Warforged Titan would be awesome to get. I don't know, like that sort of thing to help bolster them where they are right now. Excuse me. Wow. The tea is caught in my chest for some reason all of a sudden. Let's try and get that down real quick. Okay. So we talked about minis. We talked about terrain. How could I do a video on what to buy people in D&D for Christmas without talking about dice? And, I mean, I've got, a bag of dice right here. It is well tightly packed, and I have dice kind of all over the place. On places like Etsy, you can get these really cool little holsters things. This one is obviously a dagger. It's got dice inside of it, which are pretty cool. I'm a big fan of those. Nobody is ever going to be upset at just getting dice, because dice, you always need more of them. I've got itty bitty baby dice that I was talking about and I used yesterday in my video right here. I've got some that are just like those normal plastic dice that you get in sort of like bulk from wherever. This might be my favorite one. This is a wooden die that I got as part of a, let's see, what was it? It was a fundraiser at the beginning of COVID. All the profits went to like frontline workers and stuff like that, but it's got a little bitty medical caduceus on there, and I am a big fan of that. I've got some gemstone dice. These are, didn't mean to do that. These are from Wormwood. I've got some gemstone, I got some resin. In Wormwood, which actually, there's so many phenomenal dice sellers out there. Dispel Dice, Wormwood, they both have really gorgeous resin dice. There are a lot of really small creators that make like small, almost artisan batch sets that I highly recommend just trolling Etsy to find. Looking up like hashtag dice on Instagram essentially can get you to a really good spot for finding some of those really, really amazing, gorgeous dice. And one of the last things that I want to talk about is Wormwood in particular. And really past that, like, not just Wormwood, like any sort of dice tray, dice vault, that sort of thing. Having like nice wood products, and this might just be me being, kind of a wood nerd, having nice wood products makes me happy. It makes me feel like these things that I own, like these fancy click-clack rocks, actually have a lot of value to them. And it reminds me a little bit that I have like invested in what I do, and that I love this stuff that I do with my friends, for you people on the internet here. And so something like this, it doesn't come particularly cheap, but they are really nice. And if you can't go straight for Wormwood, there are plenty of amazing, amazing woodworkers that make phenomenal dice vaults, dice trays, dice everything. Over on Etsy, over on the internet. You can find them on Instagram or by scrolling through Etsy, whatever. Facebook pages, all that sort of thing. This is one of my favorite pieces that I own. Because it was one of the first really, really nice pieces of literal hardware that I bought when I was playing D&D. When I started playing D&D, not when I started. I bought it several years into it, but like this for me was when it became real. When I became like truly obsessed. And no one is ever going to be disappointed in getting most of this stuff, but no one I have ever met has been disappointed about getting a gorgeous dice box or a gorgeous rolling tray. Like those are big, big things. And they will actually become like centerpieces of collections if it suits the collection that you have. Otherwise, they are going to be something that is loved and used a lot, honestly. Random other little things that honestly are really awesome to have that I don't have within arm's reach, much like my Dwarven Forge. Condition rings. Again, if you play at the table, there are these little like acrylic rings that people make that you can get them in big batches that you just put on the mini to help people remember what is going on with their mini at that point in time. Like if they're paralyzed, if they're concentrating, if they are poisoned or stunned or whatever. Those are really helpful. Those are really, really helpful. Again, if you are playing physical, focusing on physical sort of things, those combat tier things, they're weirdly hard to find every once in a while, but if you can find them, like the little flying stands that go up and down for different creatures, those are awesome. And honestly, I'm going to duck away for a second here. Um, Speaking of flying stands, uh, I made this a while ago. This is an owl, a giant owl. My party, my home game loves to be on giant owls, and they're a lot of fun. And so I made them these flying stands. But like I bought this owl from Michael's. Like you can get just like a fistful of small animals as long as they are on like a vague sort of scale for pretty cheap, and they work phenomenally. So just I guess what I'm saying with my etc. here is get creative. Use find stuff that you think they don't necessarily have, um, and I'm sure they're gonna love it. D&D is all about being creative anyway. Like it's gonna be great, probably. But any of the other stuff that I talked about, you can find at your local game store. You can find on Amazon. You can find in Target, Walmart, big box stores like that. Obviously, I would push to support local game stores or small online publishers if you're going for a third-party supplement. But do what you can afford and do what is best for you and the person you're buying for. Obviously, we are getting close to Christmas, which means that the season is upon us here, which means that people are starting to get into crunch time for what to actually buy. So I believe that is everything I have to talk to you guys about today. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, with all that said, thank you so much for tuning in and making me a part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it, and thank you so much, in particular, to my patrons. I appreciate you all more than words can express. You guys are the ones that really make this show possible. Thank you so incredibly much. If you are interested in becoming a patron and you have the means to do so, there is a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. Please check it out and see if it's something that you are actually interested in, supporting or not. But with all that said, I will see you guys tomorrow, and until then, keep on rolling.